Hello, it's Kirsty here again from My Home Truths. I'm back after a little bit of a break for the next instalment in my challenges of the week. I'm recovering. It's my first day post-school holidays, a little bit late, a little bit out of routine, but very relieved to get everybody off, because the challenge of the week for me, as it would have been for many other people in New South Wales with their kids going back to school, is going back to school. I was woken not by my alarm clock this morning, but I was woken by Gilbert coming in at 6 a.m. Shouting at us saying, "I'm sick, I have a cough and I've sneezed and I'm not well and I'm too sick to go to school." Now, his sniffle was just and I believe he sneezed only once, so there was no actual sickness at all, but it wasn't unexpected. I was sort of expecting him to have some issues going back to school today. The big issue for him, in New South Wales and all the other school terms, you go back to school on the Tuesday. There's a staff development day at the start of term. In term 4, they don't do that because the staff development day is at the end of the term. So they go back to school on the Monday. Because it's a whole generalisation thing and it's not what normally happens, he really had a lot of issues in accepting he had to go back to school today and not, tomorrow. So he really just wanted the day off so he could go back to school on a Tuesday like he does every other term. So that was a little bit of a struggle for us this morning to get through. But the beauty with him anyway is once he gets into his routine, and he has a really good routine in the morning, he gets up, he gets dressed straight away, shoes and everything. We have a bit of an issue of getting him to have breakfast. He's sort of out of eating at the moment, sort of thing. But once he's sort of got his socks and his shoes and his whole, he's going to school. And even as he's up in his room complaining at us this morning, saying he didn't want to go to school because he was sick, he was simultaneously putting his clothes on and getting ready for the day anyway. And once he was dressed and once we got him calm and he had something to eat, he then was able to concentrate on, seeing his friends today, which is what he really wanted to do. He wanted to go back and see some of his friends. And then he turned his attention to his teacher and how he was going to tell her he wasn't prepared to do any work today because it's the first day after holidays, so no one should be able to do work. So I cornered her this morning, God love her, just said, look, it might be a little bit, not 100% today because of this, and, she's cool with that. So I think, just trying to smooth the way a little bit so she knows what's going on, and smoothing it for him will hopefully help. And in the end, he went off fine. It was lucky as we got there, one of his friends was walking in, so he was able to walk with him, and then that sort of got him off into a really good space this morning. But the school refusal is always going to be there for us. Matilda surprised me. She's been really struggling, particularly last term with her broken arm. Had a lot of issues in the mornings, didn't want to separate from me, didn't want to go to school. But this morning she went off without a complaint. And even went off to when the bell rang. She was happy enough because normally I help out at the school on a Monday morning and some other mornings of the week with Breakfast Club, and normally she'll sort of hang back and stick with me, but this morning she went off really well, so I was really pleased about that. But I think a lot of it comes down to that routine, and it seems to be my answer for everything, but for kids on the spectrum, routine is really, really important, and some of them will sort of cope with the routine or sort of welcome a routine more than others. And my kids are a classic example. My son, he hates looking at visuals. Like, I've put them up. He's a bit older now, so it's a bit different. When he was younger, we had a lot of the visuals, the board maker. Now it's more words, but it's more he needs to learn it, and as he learns it, he can do it himself. And so I just need to say to him, this morning it was like sunscreen, to remind him to do that. So he doesn't need to look at something anymore. But Matilda's different, and even though I have a routine chart for her up, she still struggles. But last night, and I had a feeling this morning was going to be okay. She wanted to be woken up early. She was willing to get up early this morning. She wanted to get dressed, and it turned out she wanted to get on the computer before she went to school. So I suppose in the end it's giving, having that motivation at the end. So even if they're not inclined to look at a routine or not inclined to want to follow one, giving that reward at the end, by saying, okay, you can have computer time or whatever the case may be. If you're completely ready, you can do whatever you like before school. That seems to work for our kids. And I'm fingers crossed that will work for Matilda for this term, because she's traditionally the person who will sleep in during the week. She doesn't want to go to school, and he's up with the birds on the weekend because she's not, and she's excited. So it can cause some issues there. But other than that, we survived the holidays quite well, and I think it was partly because we did have a plan for every day, and I was able to clearly say to the kids, look, this is what we're doing. So the first week we went away, and I actually went away with them by myself. I survived with only one bottle of wine for the 3 nights, so I think I did okay. So we did that. They enjoyed it. And again, it was just having that really loose routine. So they went for 2 swims a day. So they'd swim in the morning. So we have some quiet time, go for a swim, come back, have a bit more quiet time, go for a walk, have lunch, then go for another swim in the afternoon, come back for some more quiet time, and then go and find something to eat for dinner. So sort of having a very loose sort of routine seemed to work very well with them. And so they were very happy to, and they were just like in blocks of an hour or 2 hours or whatever the case may be. But that really worked for us, and it gave some structure to those days we were away on holidays. When we came back, we let them have a little bit of time sort of to basically decompress, as our kids need. And yes, that meant a bit of time on the computer, but since I'd taken them away to a caravan which had no Wi-Fi, they survived 4 days without Wi-Fi. I thought it was, they were able to have some after that. And then in that second week of the holidays, we ended up doing a lot of play dates and things. We went out as a family a couple of times. We went to Taronga Zoo, and I want to share a post on that in the next few weeks about how we prepared them for that and how we managed that day. We also took them shopping. They needed new shoes and things like that, so we just did it as a family event and let them, have and shouted them lunch as well, just to give them something a bit extra to go with that. And then we did a fair number of play dates, and we did most of these at home, particularly for Gilbert. He really just likes being at home and having that. The other complication, he likes sports, so he watched the NRL grand final that ended, and then pretty much cricket started off. They've got the Matador Cup at the moment, so they're televising some of those matches. So that's what he is really interested in and really wants to look at and watch. So we were able to use that as a motivator. But on the other hand, that also was a bit of an issue for us. Say, for instance, the day we went to the zoo, there was a televised match, and he was quite upset he didn't get to see any of the first innings. We had to work through that and explain that he'd get to see the second innings, and we let him stay up late that night to see that. So it's sort of a bit of give and take when it comes to trying to, get the kids organised, happy, and in some sort of routine in the holidays. But that seemed to work really well for us this time around. So I really do recommend having a bit of a loose routine, or even if you don't want to have a routine, just show them a calendar and have the 2 weeks or whatever out and just say, this day we're going to do this day we're going to do, something different. So you'll find that, and having, say, a day at home and a day out, day at home, day out, might be a good way of alternate that so that they have a little bit of rest time. But yeah, so I'm thinking this week will be interesting. I'm not out of the woods yet when it comes to return to school. I anticipate some school refusal and some issues as the week goes on because they'll get tired. It's a big thing to go back. I wrote a post at the start of the year, and I'll link to it here, about organising and getting back to school. And it's things like, being a little bit loose with homework that first week. A lot of the time teachers won't give it anyway, or they'll be very light. But I would sort of even recommend not making your kids do it if you can. Looking at, a slow return to after-school activities. Give them that first week to get used to the pace of school and enjoy that. And just, taking that time to decompress and address any sensory needs they have. I think they're the things that you've really got to keep in mind. So for this week, I'm just going to concentrate on trying to give the kids some quiet time in the afternoons after school, get them back into that routine, and hopefully next week we can full on commence into that full routine back into school. But I'll link to that post at the end of when I load this video up, and I hope it might help you guys if you're having similar issues. So did you too have school refusal this morning? Please let me know, and also let me know what your challenges of the week are. Do you have any yet? Is there something that you're wanting to work on, or try and get better at with you and your child? Would let me know, because I'd love to know that I'm not the only one sort of with challenges that I'm trying to deal with. And I'll do what I can to help you if I can, and hopefully you guys can help me too. So that's it. It's my challenge of the week, back to school, day one, they're back. Hopefully I won't get a phone call today to come and get them, and hopefully the school refusal and those issues that we often get won't be too bad this week. But, you know, as an autism mum, I'm ready for anything. So thanks again for joining in, and hopefully you can join me again on Friday at 10 o'clock, where I'll be talking about the wins of the week, and hopefully I'll be able to say, yay, my kids survived their first week of school, and I have my sanity back now after having a week without the kids for a little bit. Hope everything good. Hope you have a really good week. As I said, feel free to share your challenges with me, like this if you've also had school refusal today, because I think a few of us might have. All right, it's great to see you, and I'll talk to you again later on. See ya. Bye.